Comicsgate is about a couple of individuals from DC and Marvel who were very disappointed about the direction that modern American comics is taking, and they thought they can do a better job by going independent. And they did, by promoting each other and making good comics. Some of them raised more than $1 million for their comic book project, and they used IndieGoGo to do so. Now, unfortunately, it seems that IndieGoGo has decided to shadow ban them. So, for example, if you're going to look for prominent members of this, I guess, cultural phenomenon that's called Comicsgate, unless you have a link directly to their comic, you will not find it in the search bar. And it's very interesting because, again, they were making hundreds of thousands of dollars. So IndieGoGo is losing a lot of money by saying no to these people. And given how much wealth is being directed into this niche industry, you might even have a competitor rising up. Now, while some of the comics are not political, others are very much so. Like, for example, this one, Private American, is absolutely hilarious. It's the right-wing version of The Punisher, and it has this guy who is a war veteran, and he goes out to police the American border. So in his free time, he goes out to police the American border, much to the dismay of the United States government. And he fights with the cartel, he fights with kidnappers and drug traffickers. And within the lore, within the story, the government hates him for it, but like he videotapes everything. So that the government doesn't want to go after him because he's got the tapes. But, you know, like, yeah, sure, it's political, but hey, people want to buy it. I mean, I get the idea of, like, trying to make comic books apolitical, but the problem isn't that comic books are political. The problem is that, number one, the politics are being stuffed down your throat. And the second problem is that everything has to be far left leaning. Right? So, when you have a comic book which is right-wing leaning, oh, well, we can't have that. We need to shadow ban it. And apparently this is the only the only project that got shadow banned. Many others have also got shadow banned. But it's about, as I mentioned before in previous videos, it's about what the left is obsessed with, and that is power and starting a conversation. In other words, dominating the conversation. And people don't just converse through speaking. No, they converse through art, music, entertainment. And this is another form that people use as conversation, talking to each other. So the leftist ideologues, they cannot allow for this to continue, even if it's profitable. Of course, there may have been other things happening behind the scenes. It's quite possible that Marvel or DC has something to do with it, because at the end of the day, this is becoming really strong competition for these publishing houses. I mean, when you have a comic book that manages to get over $1 million for a crowdfund event, I mean, that's insane, in my opinion. And there's not just one, like there's many. Eric July, for example, another person who launched his own comic book. And they're making a lot of money. They're also, at the same time, exposing just how bad DC and Marvel is, because they're not able to sell their shit. So it's just shaming, you know, the establishment. It's shaming the big ones. And at the same time, it's providing entertainment for people, and it's also making them think, I guess. But as you can see here, Shane Davis launched his Inglorious Rex comic, and this is also one of them that's being shadow banned. I don't know what Inglorious Rex is about, but as you can see, it's very interesting. Like, if I was a teenager, I would probably read this. And it says that his book, amidst the two controversies, and to his shock, he found his new book was not listed from the beginning of his campaign. His accounts appear to have been flagged in advance, so his projects, even the future ones, would be launched without being seen. As you can see below, when you search Inglorious Rex campaign for the first volume, it did populate, but his current campaign is nowhere to be seen. And it's interesting because, as far as I know, this is not political, right? Like, this is not right-wing. Like, I could understand this. All right, fine. I mean, it's not fine, by the way. It's still, like, you're cracking down on freedom of expression. poor man, he's got a don't step on snake on him. But like, I can understand like why a far leftist would go against this, but this doesn't make sense to me. And again, I do believe that there might be some people from Marvel or DC like pulling the strings, or either that it's the fact that they don't like the author. Like the author is very important to these people. It's when you think about American leftism, you need to think about the old aristocracy. You know, this is how they reviewed books back in the day. It wasn't what the book was about, but it's like, who wrote the book? Did he have good pedigree? Which means like, did he have connections to the aristocracy? Was he of a good stock? So apparently, comic book creator Perf Comics researched IndieGoGo code and found that some campaigns were ended with the code meta name through promotable content equals no, which doesn't allow the campaign to be searched for. He found this code also impacted the campaigns of Gemshock and Frog G. Keyword creators, check for the above meta tag in code on your campaign page to see if you are hidden in IndieGoGo's web templates. IndieGoGo Help Center confirms that this is intentional shadow ban campaigns and can do for any reason. The page states, campaigns are not guaranteed to be listed in search. If your campaign is not appearing in search, we recommend you to find ways to actively mention this to your community to increase engagement on your campaign. Your campaign will still be accessible via campaign URL. So in other words, I don't think that most of the people that are coming to crowdfund these campaigns are doing so by finding it on the IndieGoGo search. I mean, probably there is a small percentage of them, but I don't think this is how they get their audience. The way they get their audience is using their YouTube channels, promoting themselves. So this particular shadow ban isn't going to influence them as much. However, it is a side of things to come. Like, it starts with a shadow ban, and then it's going to move to actual banning and stuff. So, yeah, hopefully they're going to find something else besides IndieGoGo. Like, if I was a comic book creator, I would not trust IndieGoGo at this point at all. I don't know if there's any other competitors, but definitely this is something that should be avoided in the future. Let me know what you guys think. And if you, by any chance, want to support this channel, there's a link into the pinned comment in the comment section. It's not to IndieGoGo. It's on Subscribestar. Which, by the way, makes me wonder, like, can't they use Subscribestar? I mean, they have ways to give rewards for backers. I mean, you know, like, maybe they should actually talk with the owners of Subscribestar. Like, maybe they can work something out. I'll pitch that in for them, actually. It's a good idea. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.